Good morning and welcome to our live talk program. This is Lorgub here, your host on Revive Reform Radio, doing our live talk program covering natural health on this year Wednesday morning, Rise and Shine. And this morning here, we're looking at the topic, the devil, the world, and the church against you. Get some zeal. Get some zeal. It's very good for you to get some zeal in your life, some energy, because of what we face on a day-to-day basis. We have to partake in the struggle that this life is all about. So welcome to our live talk program. Hopefully you had a blessed night rest and you're ready to take on the challenges of today. And if you're not, hopefully you'll get ready by the time we're finished here. So let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank thee again for your love. We thank you, dear Lord, for the blessings of your word. We thank you for the process, dear Lord, that you give to us and the warnings that you give to us, dear Lord, that in this life, this life is truly a struggle. And as we see this, experience this, that we truly might participate and not jump out of the fight. May you be with us, we pray, for Christ's sake. Amen. So in this life, we have a lot of landmines we have to deal with, some mines that are placed in the water. We have to be very careful and not go through life being naive and being gullible, being idealistic, and not understanding that, again, we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and we shall fear no evil, because God is with us. But if God is with us, we understand that we're in a war, and He's in the war, and so we need to join in with Him and fight with Him, and be like as the men that walked with David. They were warriors, and often in life, people think they're going to go through life, and it's going to be a candy or ice cream and vanilla ice cream lifestyle. And this is not a real life. That's not real life. That's not reality. Those who are looking for that lifestyle often end up killing themselves or die in some severe, naive way. We don't want to be like that. We want to be part of that fight, and we want to, enjoy the fight also. Enjoy the realities of that fight. That this is part of the struggle, and when you overcome certain obstacles, God will bless you. So that's my main topic for this morning. Before I start into my main topic, I have 3 short articles here that I want to share with you about what's going on in the world of health. And then I'm going to come back to my topic, which is health and motivation here this morning. And so 3 short topics here for you as we start here this morning. And so the first one I'm going to share is all 3 taken from NBCnews.com and written by Maggie Fox here. And it's entitled Prepared Salads Recalled for Salmonella Listeria Risk. No one has been reported sick because of the potential contamination. And this here was the end of last week. And it says, ready-to-eat salad made by small suppliers across the country are being recalled because they might be contaminated with listeria or salmonella, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said. Suppliers in Florida, California, Washington, Oregon, Texas have recalled mixed salad sold at retailers that include Trader Joe's, Walmart, 7-Eleven, Whole Foods, the USDA said. No one has been reported sick, but suppliers of some of the ingredient have reported the salad may have been contaminated. All of the salad contain meat such as chicken or pork. So again, these salads were sold at Trader Joe's, Walmart, 7-Eleven, Whole Foods, right? So these are this is the spectrum right there. You can't beat this type of list. This is people who have money, people who are poor, people who are into health, people who are not into health. These are what the salads are. These are the places that salads are being sold. And because Trader Joe's, Whole Food most naturally, and then Walmart, 7-Eleven. Notice here that it says that the salads have been contaminated, and all the salads. So these salads we're talking about are salads that already been pre-made. These are like, you on the road, good example would be 7-Eleven. You're on the road, you need a quick meal, but you want to have it semi-healthy, protein and some salad. You go to 7-Eleven, you grab something. Well, all the salads contain meat, such as chicken or pork. So this, I'm assuming, could be like a Caesar salad with chicken in it and probably some a ranch dressing. So all of these salads. So is it the salad or is it the meat that is contaminated with salmonella or listeria? And then he has pork. So a lot of time they could do like something like pork bits or chopped up, diced up pork with the salad. Well, these are the salads that are contaminated. And we continue here, almost done. Some salads are bagged and some are in plastic kits. There have been no confirmed report of adverse reaction due to consumption of these products. Anyone concerned about any injury or illness should contact a healthcare provider. The concerns in some products may be in consumers' refrigerator. This food safety group is urging people not to consume them. These products should be thrown away or returned to the place of purchase, right? So keep that in mind here. These are besides from Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, 7-Eleven, and wherever else. Now, that's important to note again because all the salads contain meat in them. And then also, sometimes salads, they're not properly processed. And so whatever animal feces in the field get carried into the container and then eaten and cause sickness. What do you know about food-borne illness, stomach viruses? And most people never go to the doctor. They just suffer for a day or two or three, and then they're back to work and back to their life. And so hence, these results are never, most of the time, are not reported. So keep that in mind. Second quick article here that I wanted to share, just to give you an update of what's going on. Remember, for the last few weeks, there have been a recall of beef and other and pork. So just an update on that. The CDC says 63 more people 63 more people sick in ground beef recall. Stores include Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Sam's Club, sold affected beef product. So these are massive movers of meat. Walmart, Winn-Dixie, Sam's Club that are selling these meats. It says another 63 people have reported ill from eating salmonella-contained ground beef, federal health officials said Tuesday, bringing a total of sick people to 122 in 22 states. The beef distributed by JBS Tolleson Inc. of Tolleson, Arizona, was sold by several large chains, including Walmart, Sam's Club. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says the company recalls 6.5 million pounds of beef products earlier this month after the contamination was discovered. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention said 33 people have been hospitalized with severe infection, but no one has died. Consumers who have ground beef in their home labeled with the establishment number, estimate EST.267, should check the FDA FSIS website for a list of stores and states where recalled ground beef was sold. The meat was sold under many different brand names at many different stores, and the establishment mark is the best way to identify recalled beef. The products were sold under several labels, including Cedar River Farm, Gourmet Burger, Grass Run Farm, Natural Beef, fascinating, JBS Generic, Showcase, and Showcase Walmart. The USDA say affected products were sold at many different stores, including also stores in Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Winn-Dixie stores in Florida, Georgia, Sam's Club stores in 26 states. Do not eat recall ground beef, return to the store and throw it away. Contact your healthcare provider again. And most people infected with salmonella develop diarrhea, fever, stomach cramps. 12 to 72 hours after eating contaminated food, the illness usually lasts 4 to 7. And most people recover 47 days, and more people recover without treatment. So this is why, as I say, I remember when I used to eat meat, you get sick, and most of the time, probably a day, 2 days, and that's it. And you get back better. And so it's just the amount of poison food that people eat on a weekly basis. It's unreal. And the moment you start cutting out meat out of your diet, you find that all those stomach cramps and pain and diarrhea and vomiting, and the worst if you have a diarrhea and vomiting at the same time, you're basically vomiting from both orifices. It's unreal and it's excitement. This is why my topic for this morning is going to be quite important for you, which is you need to get some zeal, get some energy about your health. Third article here before I go to my main topic. Crowdfunding sites funnel millions to bogus treatments. And so this is again, same author, same website. Generous but gullible people are sending millions of dollars to friends and strangers who are raising money for unproven and even bogus medical treatment, researcher says. They found more than 1,000 websites that have had raised nearly $7 million for people who said they needed help getting homeopathy, stem cell treatments, and other dubious cures. When we pick out five useless, dangerous, and quack-like interventions, we found they raise a tremendous amount of money to try and help desperate people to use them, said Art Kaplan, the bioethicist at New York University who worked on the study. There's no doubt that there's a lot of generosity out there, but there is also no doubt that there is a lot of people willing to rip off the desperate. Dr. Ford Vox, a brain rehabilitation specialist at the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, said he noticed just how many medical crowdfunding sites there were. He joined forces with the medical ethics team at NYU to see what people were giving to their money to. More than 1,000 medical crowdfunding campaigns for 5 treatments that are unsupported for evidence or potentially unsafe raised more than $6.7 million. They wrote. Another study found that 408 campaigns raised more than $1 million for unproven stem cell intervention. They search for people seeking cash for treatment known to be unproven and scientifically disproven. The FDA has issued public warnings against homeopathy and unproven stem cell therapy. Stem cell therapy is a broad term that covers both proven and unproven treatments, but clinics abound that offer stem cell therapy with no medical proof they work. Although they checked a number of crowdfunding sites, GoFundMe had almost all the sketchy medical fundraisers they found. So I guess GoFundMe is the go-to site. The most money was raised by the 474 campaigns collecting funds for homeopathic and naturopathic cancer treatment at $3.4 million. People were seeking money to travel overseas to clinics in places like Germany, Mexico, and then even for hyperbaric treatment and cancer treatment in New Orleans, Panama, Thailand, India, China, Mexico. These are the main areas around the world, and that sounds about right. So I read that there because, as you know, we believe here in natural remedies. We believe in natural treatment for all diseases including incurables. But one has to always be careful in what you take as a treatment, especially some of these very expensive modalities where often there is no proof, and but yet there's a good sales pitch. Sometimes they work, a lot of times they don't work. But one has to be very careful of this, knowing that there's a lot of scammers in all industries. And for that reason, one has to be very careful of how you spend your thousands, or you ask others to spend thousands on your behalf because you're sick. Sick people are normally desperate people, and if you want to prove that, you go into the medical industry, the approved medical industry, and you will see how, especially with cancer, how sick people will give their last penny for cancer treatment just before they die, hopeless. And this is probably the biggest scam. That is the biggest scam, I should say. But there is con men abound in every industry, so be very careful. And as I said, there's many modalities that people tout to be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and all it is just a gimmick and a scam and a sham. So keep all those things in mind. As I say, be careful with how you donate to stuff that are not proven. Because it's natural doesn't mean it's guaranteed to work for you or anybody. But this is a tagline. Many people say they're truthful. You see this in both the spiritual and the natural. If a person go after something that is perceived by a large group to be evil, it gives them credibility that they're true. So you have to be careful of that. It's almost like if I go after whatever. So if say the big target is always Monsanto, they have like a target on their back. So if I do a talk against how Monsanto is evil, and then halfway through the talk, I switch to why you should use my product. Normally the person say, well, because he attacked Monsanto, and if I do a good job of attacking, where I just rip them to shreds, and then I start saying, hey, look, use my product. Normally, for most people who believe that, say, companies like Monsanto that are poisoning the earth, then people who believe that, they automatically say, well, since he stripped them to, since he shred them to pieces and rip them up that good, it must be that he's true, because he just attacked Monsanto and Aventis and all these various different bio engineering company. And that's not normally true. That could be just smoke and mirrors. It's just me, sleight of hand. I'm just basically verifying myself, saying I'm good based upon how good I tear down something else. So I want to have to be careful of this type of sales pitch. It's similar to like mental programming or hypnosis or NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I'm just programming you, setting you up so that I can sell you something. Be careful of that. Very important. You gotta still observe and take in what the person is selling, and independent of what they just said, because most of the time the best con man know how to use this process of manipulating by attacking something. All right, so we get to our topic there, and that topic also, this topic lines up with that articles to a certain degree. And again, my main focus here now is on the devil, the world, and the church against you. You should get some zeal, or get some zeal. So devil, world, church against you, get some zeal. This is very important in my mind. So much individuals living on the earth's planet are not in a struggle for life. They're going through life, and it's like nobody told us. And that's, to me, is a disadvantage if you have children. I don't tell them. You need to be careful. You need to understand. Evil lurks. Danger lurks. And by not saying that and not teaching that and not living that, it's like there's a fight and a struggle for life and for eternal life of each person. And most people are not part of that struggle. Their own struggle. Their own survival. They're trusting. And they're trusting, especially, as I say, of established evil. Established methods of evil. And they're naive to it. They're gullible. And you and I are not supposed to be gullible. You and I are not supposed to live in as if we have no muscle, as if we have no fight or flight naturally built into us. If the Creator God built you and I with fight or flight capabilities, so that if something happened, you're ready to either start fighting or you're ready to start take flight. If God Himself did that, well, you ought to work with the program. To me, one of the most beautiful things of natural health is that the body reacts, and then you need to learn intelligently to work with whatever the body is doing. If the body says vomit, then you need to know I need to help it. If the body says diarrhea, I need to help it. If the body says fight, I pause there because most people say, oh, I don't need to help it. Everybody say flight, people like, I'm immobilized. Like, why are you immobilized? Why you can't move? The body's telling you move, get out of the way, run for your life. So often our training has made our mind not work with our natural instincts. And so God wants you to fight. God wants you to be in flight. But you now can be trained that you sit there. And you can just imagine now with me. A person is sitting there. And it's a whole bunch of people who don't have the fear of the Lord. And they're silly. And they're just sitting there smoking weed. And they smoke everywhere. And they're being numbed. Sorry, I'm laughing because I can see it in my mind. They're being numb mentally. They're being numb neurologically so that they can't fight or they can't have flight. And then they start complaining that they're being oppressed. And I like, yeah, you're being oppressed. Because why? Because you have no fight in you. And your natural was built with fight. But that fight has been knocked out of you by your own doing. And all you knuckleheads sitting around in a circle, smoking weed, have got the fight knocked out of you. And all you're doing is complaining that that man, whoever that man is, have his boot around your neck. But you're helping the man. You're making it easy for the man. The man is like, man, that's taking like candy from babies. That's what you are, a bunch of babies. So hey, you got to get up that zeal. You got to get that fight. You got to get with the program. So here in Ecclesiastes, one of the most beautiful passages of scripture for that idea here, in Ecclesiastes 9 verse 11, 10 and 11, it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. So pause there a little bit. So whatever your hand find to do, you do it with all thy might. And one of the things why I love studying health, practicing health, because one of the first things I've learned, one of the first rules I learned about health, there's a lot of things you learn, but when I really started understanding that there's rules to health, one of the first rules that I learned was how to have more energy through my day. So throughout the day as you're going, how to have more energy. One of the principles I learned was your eating pattern. And I remember studying that, and I was listening to a seminar, and the person was just talking about how, I'm going to talk about scheduling. And you have to put a schedule down or a list, what you need to accomplish for the day, because then it kind of give you guidance for the day. So okay, I have 10 things to do, and you start working. But separately from that, having a schedule and trying to keep to your schedule and all that, I remember I heard a very fascinating presentation when I was younger. And the person was talking about eating 2 or 3 meals a day, no snacking, and inverting the diet. And I say, wow, fascinating. For me, that was like one of the first things. Fascinating. 2 or 3 meals a day, no snacking whatsoever, just water, probably some juice, but just water. And inverting the diet. You eat the heaviest meal in the morning, you eat like dinner in the morning, lunch for lunch, and then nothing or something very light that will digest probably in 2 hours or so in the evening. And then the person went along, break it down. And at that point, I didn't have like the church per se. I didn't understand the church. Like, the church is a hindrance. They will start attacking anything like that as extreme or, the silliness. The devil, I kind of understand that idea, but never understand it. And the world was dead to me at that point because it didn't matter. I didn't understand it fully either. And all I realized was I like it. I said, I'm going to try that. For whatever reason. I think I needed more energy. I don't know. But I thought that was just like mastery. So you just try this thing. I would try stuff. So I tried it, and it worked. And I was like, wow, I have more energy. I can go through my day, and I can get more done, and I have more energy, and I start having more control because it became a challenge to not snack. Because normally you eat breakfast, snack, for like a break, lunch, take a break again, snack, dinner, and that's like 5 meals. Two small, three big. And then you're tired. Do you switch that and all of a sudden, wow, I have more energy and I'm not so occupied with food. Food is not my occupation anymore. It's just something that I do ever so often. And you do that for whatever. So notice here, all of a sudden you try a principle and you realize I'm starting to get ahead of the game. I can get more done as the person was teaching in the same amount of hour. Say if you have 5 hours and I have five, my 5 hours I can outdo you because I have more zeal, I have more energy. So I'm able to be on my toes. And when you start taking principles like that, and what we're talking about here, when you're up against a lot, when you're up against you yourself, so to speak, whether it be the devil, the world, or the church, whatever you're up against, it's easier for you to be more diligent and to do whatever you have find to do than the average person because your control over what you're eating and the way you have more energy. So we have to be wise about this and understand what the health is because many people misunderstand the health. They'll start thinking it's a way to get brownie points. The brownie points you're getting is for yourself primarily. When you do right, you think you're blessing others, but the primary person being blessed is yourself. So you start having more energy. So whatever you find to do, you can outdo somebody else. Even if that's the aim is not to outdo them, but that's going to be the reality. And say you're normally sick and you're sick for 4 times of the year. Whether it be a stomach virus, a flu, or whatever, you're sick 4 times. So that's once a quarter. And you start changing some of these things. You start saying, you know what, I have to be in this fight. I'm going to fight on multiple fronts. And as I said, the health give you this idea in a more powerful way, fast. And you start seeing it as, wow, this is real. And you notice now that you start changing. You're entering this fight. You're not gullible anymore. You literally, you pick up that label, you start reading that label. And you start seeing the mono this, that, monodiglyceride. And you say, what is that? And you start becoming educated because you're not naive that men will put garbage in food so they can make more money and spend less money. Well, actually spend less and make more. You're not gullible to the fact that human beings will abuse you and oppress you so that they can live large. And because you're not gullible to that fact, as I say, you pick up that label and you read that label. You start to wonder what's in your water. You start to wonder what's in every consumer product you use. Because you really realize that there's a devil out there that's trying to get you. The world is trying to oppress you. And the church is trying to make a fool of you. And then you not be so gullible. You understand. You feed into, so to speak, not in an unwise way, but in a biblical way, to that reality that you're walking in the valley of the shadow of death, wherever you're at. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was talking about one of the things I'd learned was never to sleep in church, especially when the pastor's preaching. That some of the most boring pastors are some of the most dangerous and sneaky. They'll sneak in a boring sermon some of the most despotic, evil concepts. And you thinking, oh, that was boring, and he just brainwash you. And I've learned because I've seen, and somebody could say, oh, that's, you're just talking too much. Yeah, you're dead. If you do, you think that you've been duped into thinking some of the most ones that just there to talk, and you're thinking, what are they talking about? You have to listen and pay attention. They're slipping in some diabolical concepts, and you thinking they're just up there rambling on. You say, wait a minute, that man probably has a master's degrees and a PhD. He's not rambling on. He's brilliant. He's just not getting it. So you fall asleep and next thing you know, you're doing dumb stuff and saying dumb stuff. And you're not thinking, well, I got that from the pastor. So when you in this world, you understand that. But see, when you live in a secular life, you don't get that. When you start reading the Bible, you realize, wait a minute, the Bible it talks about, think about a secular person. You know a secular person or a person that's a heathen, or say they call themselves normally today atheists. They say, oh, I don't like the Bible because there's too much blood and gore. I'm like, wake up and look around you. Look around you. What's going on every day? Look around you. And then you start to ask me the question, what has changed? Nothing has changed. You better get up and get in the fight. So notice here now, you start to having more energy. And instead of you being sick once a quarter, you're probably sick twice a year, once a year. And as you keep going, you go through the whole year, you're not sick. Are you ahead of the average person out there? Yeah. Are you having less downtime? Yeah. Are you having more energy? Yes, it's obvious. There's benefits to this stuff. Because why? You're taking care of your body. You're understanding that all that genetic engineering foods, let them eat it because they don't believe that there's a devil, the real devil out there. Let them eat it because they believe that the people engineering these things have not lost their salvation or are not crazy in their head. Let them believe that they believe in their scientists and their scientists are all gods. Let them do that. But you who's a Bible believer, you don't do that. You understand that what these men are doing in the lab, they're doing it from a lost mindset. And don't let those men in the labs tell you that, oh yeah, we're doing it for the poor people in Africa. Really? They ever done anything for the poor people in Africa? You really believe that? You believe that all those labs that are over there experimenting on chimps and all kind of stuff by all these non-profits, they're really over there trying to help these people? They ever did? Why do you think they're going to all of a sudden get up and start doing that now? But most people believe it. And I'm guaranteed if you go to most of these African nations, the leaders believe it, that these guys who have these top secret labs doing all kind of weird experiments really are for them. And I'm like, they never were for you. Why do you think they're all of a sudden going to become for you? Stop being gullible. Stop being so simple. And stop dying of all these weird diseases. Stop it. Eat what God made for you to eat and you'll be fine. Just fine. You'll do better. Think about it as a matter of fact. You bring me all these people claiming that they're into health or they're into medical bio experiment, doing them Frankenstein experiment. Look at most of them. They look so decrepit. But I tell you, nothing what they're doing is working for them. They're dying of all these weird, strange cancers and stuff like that. It's not working. You got to get in the fight and you got to know this is the fight. It's a fight for life. Look at these scientists that say, oh no, I don't believe in God. I believe in these kind of weird chemicals that I'm experimenting with and these, fake genetic engineered stuff. And look at them. They look like they're falling apart, like they've dropped off of a truck on their face. And yet you're going to believe them and say, oh yeah, but they know what they're talking about. Really? If they know what they're talking about, they should take their own medicine and they will do better. So you follow people who are going natural, you've seen they're getting results. So again, when you're in a fight, you got to get some zeal. And those who are not in the fight, they're getting whipped because they think, oh, I'm supposed to be the receptacle for every junk that the modern medicine and all the pharmaceutical weirdos are putting out there. And if you be like that, you're going to look like them. And you're going to feel like them. And you're going to be sick like them. And that's the reality. So when you learn these principles, you start to becoming more diligent because you start to realize, wait a minute, I'm doing better. As I say, you look at people who are regular smokers of weed. Not what I say in the next few minutes will apply to them because they're already giving up the race. They're already like stoned out of their minds. What fight they have in them but to be oppressed all the day long. So verse 11 of Ecclesiastes 9. Verse 11 says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happen to them all. So it is not those who might be the swiftest. You still have to have some zeal. It's not those that are the strongest. Still not those that are the wise, or those yet that have understanding, or yet many even get favor, because favor could be viewed as time and chance. But time and chance happen to them. They always say the person that's out there working, the person that's out there diligently doing the work, which is verse 10, is a person that when the opportunity knocks or the time come, they can take advantage of it because they're already working. You can't sit there and wait. See, say you don't sit and wait. You see, a person who's sitting for next year, waiting for next year for the opportunity to come, their grand time, their 15 minutes of fame. You are already working to get your 15 minutes of fame. You are already doing things to make sure that you're not going to be on the losing end. You don't have to wait. You're not waiting for the next. I know people, so many people, they're waiting for the next big find. They want to see, okay, let's find the next acai berry. That used to be the big hit a few years ago. And I'm like, why are you waiting for that? There's some things you can do right now, today, to get your blessing. Just do what you can today with what you have. Probably there's something else that you can find. And you can wait 10 years and you still don't find that stuff. In the meanwhile, for that last 10 years, I'm just doing with what I have. And I'm trying to be diligent. So it's not those who are swift or wise or whatever that gets the winning. It's those who are diligent. Just keep hammering away. Keep pushing ahead. And be diligent. Somebody would say it's fanaticism. Others look at it as zeal. You're not going to see a person that's at the top of the game, a goof off. Just that's not the reality. I remember years back when I was younger, there was this guy that was very famous for Formula car racing. I remember then I used to watch that stuff. And I remember they were talking about, his name was Michael Schumacher, I think his name was. I think he was a German. And they said of him that he was one of the fittest race car driver. And the question was why? Because the amount of pressure that it puts on the body to be driving round and round, not round and round, but those circuitry tracks, the extra physicality of the person made them better, gave them an edge. Just being able to be physical, fitness wise. Yet it was an eye-to-eye coordinated effort, but the body was able to be fitter. If you're fitter, you can concentrate more. If you're fitter, you can be more alert. If you're healthier, you have just more brain power. You have more electricity flowing through your body. That's just the reality. You have less downtime. You have more uptime. You can go harder for longer without your body falling apart. So the word zeal means great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of a cause or an objective. So what often people knock, and people are afraid of it. If you have too much energy with anything, it can be scary for most people. Because most people are inebriated and they didn't even drink. They're knocked out of the game. They're going through life boring, and there's no energy. So if you come around somebody that has great zeal, it can be it's viewed normally, especially in our society, as scary, as radical, as fringe, as fanatical. And so everybody nobody per se don't want to be labeled like that because it seems wrong. But yet, in order for you to get some of the things you need to get in life, you have to put a little bit more energy. You have to have some taxation. You have to be able to develop endurance. Well, how you develop endurance? Well, you got to push that body. It's just no other way. You can't. You're not going to develop endurance by going out and exercising 5 minutes every day. You're going to get something, but what are you really going to get? You're going to have to put a little bit more in. So you apply that to any health aspect in your life, and you're going to find simply that you will have to put a little bit more in order for you to get the results you need to get. You're going to get some more effort. What effort did you put out yesterday? You're going to have to put a little bit more on today. And that effort could be in various different ways. That effort could be just you got to start using your juicer a little bit more often. That effort could simply mean you got to start making more salads. That's all. It doesn't have to be what you're thinking. It could just be something a different way. You're gonna have to make some more effort to be able to ingest bitter herbs, teas. You're gonna make some more effort to clean your home more often. It could be things that you're not thinking, but it's something that you could be dealing with, like order. You gotta start basically filing stuff away, putting stuff in shelves, getting some shelves in your home, cleaning up stuff, getting rid of old stuff. People talk about spring cleaning. I believe in spring cleaning, but I also believe in fall cleaning. You clean up, and when I say clean, I mean stuff is going in the garbage. Stuff that you haven't used it for a few years, dump it, clear out the clutter out of your house, and that will help you start clearing out the clutter of your mind, clear the clutter out of your fridge, out of your cupboards. Just get rid of stuff. Why? Because you want to be lean and mean, not just in your physical body, but in your mind, in your soul. You want to settle some affairs in your head with God. You want to clean out your house and get some stuff clear out and everything straightened up and neatened up and cleaned out and washed. And it will add to your success in this life. You don't have to wait for the opportunity. You take it today. I believe that you do what's closest at hand. And what closest at hand is, you're looking forward to do something great next year. But what great you could do this year is just basically straighten up your house. And by doing that, you're more successful. Somebody say, how? I'm telling you, more. It's just because you just won. You want to battle that many people. This to me, what I always think about with that idea is old age and old go hand in hand. It's like after, when you're young, you like have zeal, you want to buy things new, you want to experience life, bam, 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 bam. Right? As you get old, you can see like where the person's life stopped. Not everybody, but a lot of people get older. When their life stopped. They stopped 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. The furniture never got changed. The clothes never got changed. They never threw out the old clothes. Their mindset never got changed. Everything just got frozen in time, and you can see, oh, this person haven't lived in like 30 years. And you talk to them, they're still telling you stuff about what happened 30 years, as if, man, so the last 3 decades, what you have done, just daydream. I've known people that they're now in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they're still back at high school. Since high school, they never experienced joy of life. They're still, college or high school is still the best years of their life. And I'm thinking, so what happened to you? And that's what the Bible comes. So you better get some zeal. You better get some zeal. I'm sure you experienced that where you're in the 90s, you met people who still had bell-bottom pants in their closet. Brown. You ever been in a house and it's like brown everywhere or yellow? That kind of weird looking yellow brown. And you're thinking, man, this house I need a facelift to bring it into the modern era. And that's how often people's lives are. I've been in churches and you can see this church has been frozen in time for the last 30 years. They're talking about doctrines and they're talking about stuff that you realize, man, they're stuck back in the past. It's a nostalgic church. It's a sentimental church. It's sentimental about what the church was back then. Sorry, so they never had no new experience. So this is where it's at. You gotta not give in to that. You don't give in to that. Don't get stuck in an old experience. Forget about the past. It never happened. It's dead. Because literally it is. So zeal is great energy and enthusiasm in a pursuit of a cause. What is that cause? Is it your current life? Is it salvation? Get some energy. Is it in natural health? Get some energy. You remember you were fit one time, hopefully. Well, get fit again. You remember you always desired to be fit because you're never fit? Go get fit. Whatever it is, you want to be healthy, just do it, but you have to do it with zeal. You have to have great energy. Your energy has to be more than your obstacles. If your energy is not more than the obstacles, you're dead in the water. That's just the reality. And if your obstacle is so great that you only can move it, a millimeter at a time, then you have to make up your mind that long term, you can keep pushing at that obstacle and you move it a millimeter at a time till you start moving a centimeter and then so forth. Get that energy. So the cause is your salvation of ultimately. And right here, right now is your survival down here. You have to have a fresh experience. And that fresh experience, see to your mind that sweat is involved. Whatever that fresh experience, see yourself dripping with sweat. That's zeal. See yourself sitting there until you start having a headache because you're trying to learn the subject matter. That's the type of energy you need to have. If you don't approach your life with this type of energy, you're not going to do it. What you need to throw to your house, throw it out with energy. Just make sure nobody's in front of the house to hit them. But you're going to get that stuff out there if you have to throw it and hit the trees outside of your house. Just fling it out of your house. Get rid of it. You got to get some energy. And so someone say, oh, but I have sentimental attachment to it. If you have sentimental attachment to it and it's a keeper, keep it. But if it's not a keeper, you're sentimentally attached, well, test it. Put it on eBay. See if somebody have sentimental attachment to it. Normally people have sentimental attachment to their money. And if they're willing to let go of their money for what you have, probably you should either keep it or you should sell it and take the money. But get going. Get going and you find this is all part of your health. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 10 through 13. Ephesians 6 verse 10 through 13 says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day. And having done all, stand, the Bible says, stand. So you see this text here. People read this text and I don't know what you get out of this text, but I'm going to tell you what I got out of the text. What I get out of it, my personal, what I get out of it. See, what I get out of this text here is that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Flesh and blood in reality are in principalities. They are powers. They are rulers of this dark world. They're individuals there. They're literal flesh and blood there. There are spiritual wickedness in high places. This is a person that is in high places and they're doing things that are demonic. But what I understand, Paul here is heightening it. It's not so much he's focused on the individual. He's saying, these people conspire together, they're a group of them, and they're working together for evil. Hence, my understanding is that a lot of time, evil that we go up against are things that are in high places, in other words. That's what it says, but I'm saying it's in high places, it's in whatever. So, not necessarily that you can't believe that the government per se can't do anything right or the church can't do anything right. But for the most part, you have to be very careful. And you have to understand that a lot of the struggles that the average person deal with is coming from high office. And not so be gullible by whatever people in high office says. Whatever it be the president of a institution, the president of a church institution, the president of the country, basically governmental organization, so forth. You can't swallow everything. You can't go around life believing in conspiracy in everything, but definitely you can't swallow everything. One has to be very careful with your mind, with your body, because these are what we wrestle against. And that's the reality. But it doesn't mean that if there's a local person there, you shouldn't be careful either. One just have to be careful in this life. But notice he says here that you have to take on the arm of God because you wrestle. Often in life, our struggles is because we're too gullible. We swallow everything and we let down our guards. And often we're letting our guards to institutions and things that have been proven themselves to be dangerous. As I say, you see all these labs in Africa doing all these experimenting them. But yet you say to them, how can you guys, it blows my mind because I can't understand. How can they be so gullible? They've been made a fool of for all these different millennia and century. Why would they continue with that type of craziness? But they do. So it blows my mind. See, I understand these people come with their billions of dollars and they come and say, I am this foundation and that foundation. You think, yeah. And why can't you just give us the generic? Why are you giving us all these drugs? Why can't you just give us some water, some sanitation, less wars? Oh, no, I don't want to give you that. I want to give you this new lab that's going to do this crazy experiment. And we hopefully don't get out because if we get out, a whole bunch of people are going to die. And we're like, oh, let's approve it. I don't understand why. And this is not particular my thought. I didn't even have this thought until I start talking. So this is not my aim on my presentation, but it's just that thought keep coming back to my mind. Like, we can be so gullible at the obvious that it blows my mind. You know, it's frightening. You have a group that has been proving themselves to be nefarious. And, you know, it's like the mafia comes to you and start talking. You be like, where's my gun? Where's my machete? You don't need to hear them talk two more words. The moment they start talking with a certain accent, they better come to you with a different accent because you just know it's war. You know, it's just because these people have a proven problem. It's a sickness. And that's what I'm talking about. Is when the thing is especially historical, why be shocked? You know, if a dog bites you, I mean, it might be painful, but you're not shocked. That's what dogs do often. They bite people. You know, so that's what dogs do. Hyenas are going to always be hyenas. Why be shocked by their behavior? But often people are shocked by the obvious. To me, I prefer to be shocked by something that I'm never expected. But if you expect it, why be gullible? Why be so idealistic? Why be naive? What you really expect? That these major companies who produce these chemicals that are killing so many people and they hide the information, have been proven over and over again, that they hide information from even their own engineers, that they're going to look out for you because these people want to drive around big yachts. They're going to look out for you. No, they're not. They're not. But if I say that, that don't mean that you shouldn't test what I'm saying either. It's just, that's just life. So one of the things that is important for us to be is to be a living channel for righteousness. Because there's a point where you start to learn these things and then you start to say, I need to make people aware of some of these principles because we're in a struggle for life and you got to get with that. And so it's one thing where you're trying to learn so that you can live. You know, you want to be woke, as they say. So be woke, but as you be woke, then you need to awaken others. In John chapter 4, verse 9 through 15, speaking of the woman of the well, she thirsted and she was not being satisfied. And she tried to satisfy that thirst with various different lifestyle. So here Christ talking to her. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Jesus, I might pause there and say, well, Jesus himself was thirsty also. And that thirst that Christ had was not being satisfied amongst the Jews. You can remember the story when he talked to the centurion. He says he has not found such great faith that was found in the centurion in Israel. So I tell you, Christ was hungering for something deeper. And zeal is like that. You have something of somebody will say, but you're good. And you're just like, no, I'm not good. I need more. See, that's true hunger. And that's how you need to approach natural health. That's how you need to approach your salvation. You need more. If you don't get that feeling inside of you, and you say you're good, well, you're good. So you're going to get more. So Jesus answered and said unto her, if thou knowest the gift of God, and who it is that saith unto thee, give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living waters. The same reality life for me and you. You know, most of the problem that we have is we're good. We don't want more. So we don't get more. We're not interested in more. And if you start wanting more and you start going after more, you find that the great beyond, the great deep is there. There's so much more. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Notice here this thing that is not a thing that is happening internally. It's external religion. It's not, you see, this whole thing is all about, to me, even as I look at natural health, it's all about this idea here. It's not so much where I'm at health-wise, is where I can get to. And as long as when I get there, I realize I want more. That's just the reality. It's not that I'm not satisfied. It's that I realize that when I drink deep, nice glass of water from that living water, that thing is so good that I'm thinking, this is great. This is what I've been looking for. I found that well. It's not an external well. She was talking about here an external well. So art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us this well, and drank of himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again, but whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst again. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up unto everlasting life. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. See, that's what you need. You need it. Really what it is not so much the health per se. It's that thirst. And that what is the water you're getting. And when you taste of it, you realize I can get more. And when you get that attitude, that to me is that well. You start learning where to drink from and how to get more of that. And so there's a lot of time where, again, the devil is after you, the world is after you, the church is after you, trying to trip you up. And you're not moving. You're just sitting there being clobbered. And I've seen people all the time. I said they're knocked out of the race. They've been beaten and clobbered every day, and they won't even get up and move. The story is told of Isaac. And, you know, the story is told of Isaac when he was 40 and he married to Rebecca. And Rebecca herself was barren, right? I'm just trying to make sure I'm getting this clear here in front of me. And Isaac prayed, and when he prayed, his wife got pregnant. She, Lord, opened up her womb, as they would say, and there was 2 nations in her womb. And as the 2 nations were in her womb, she had a strange experience because there was a struggle inside of her stomach. The 2 of them were struggling against each other. So, again, I don't know what your experience if you were born struggling, if you were born fighting. But there's a certain point come in life, like these 2 young men, Esau and Jacob. Jacob had the fight in him. So notice Jacob dug the well. The woman at the well drank of the well. But she wasn't being satisfied. Jacob, although he did all that, he was being satisfied because he was born struggling. He kept on struggling. I just want to make sure I'm running out of time here, and I'm kind of hopefully I'm not smashing 2-3 stories together. But the main point is that you gotta struggle, right? You gotta struggle, and when you struggle, that's the real experience, right? Jacob was a struggler. Jacob was a person that was fighting. You gotta fight. And you gotta struggle. If you're not in the struggle and you're just taking life, and forget about the drug business, because all these people on drug, they inebriated, alcohol, all this, they knocked out of the struggle. No, you gotta be a fighter because you gotta overcome. You gotta see your maker in peace. You gotta win in this battle. Don't get knocked out of the fight. And as I say, if you weren't struggling, if you weren't born struggling, if you weren't struggling from in the womb, start struggling. Start fight back. Get some zeal. Start taking your health, your mental, physical, spiritual health into your own hands and do something. And God will bless you. Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we thank thee again for the blessings of your word. Pray, Lord, that you may continue to guide us in your ways, that we might be like thee. May you bless us, we pray, as we lay all on the altar for Jesus. This is my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks for being with me here on Revive Form Radio. Looking forward to talking to you tomorrow morning again live, where we should talk about current events. Until then, I pray that you may continue to walk with the King.